Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pick Your Crystal here at Soulprint. Thank you very, very much for being here. I love the feedback and I love the thumbs up. So I thank you very, very much for that. Um, all right. This is for the week of November 9th through the 15th. We're going with green, purple, blue. I hope it's a very deep, it's a beautiful, beautiful, almost like a navy blue. Um, so I'm hoping you're seeing that as blue. Okay. So take a moment again. Which crystal or crystals are sort of resonating with you, calling out, and we'll get started. Here we go. Start with green and see what it has to say. Okay. Seven of Swords, Death, don't freak out. Ten of Pentacles, the Emperor. Interesting. Okay. The Seven of Swords invariably is about a situation where diplomacy, not aggression, is going to work better. It is a card that tends to indicate things not sort of happening or unfolding the way they were expected or anticipated. Now, this is where we're getting tricky here because you have the death card, which, generally speaking, is about endings and new beginnings, about rebirth. I mean, if you think of the death card almost as like a phoenix rising from the ashes, but it's followed by the Ten of Pentacles here, which can be a card representing inheritances, money coming through, um, eh, sort of financial stability, property, that kind of thing. And then you have the High Arcana card. No, yeah, the High Arcana card, the Emperor, which is about it's about abundance, but it tends to be more in a commercial sense. So at first pass, for some of you, this may indeed be dealing with an estate, dealing with inheritances, dealing with the um, sale or accumulating of property, of tangible assets. If that's part of what you're dealing with, what these cards are talking about is the fact that this thing is just not unfolding exactly quite the way you expected. It feels like there's tension in the air and stress. Diplomacy is going to be what gets you through this. Um, if that is in fact what you're dealing with, it's a funny thing how the passing of a loved one, particularly if you are part of the inheritance, um, can really bring out a lot of unresolved issues that weren't dealt with while the person was alive. And so one of the things that happens is people tend to get very aggressive or opinionated or angry when it comes to sort of dealing with the estate. So if that's something you're dealing with, be reminded of the fact that really this is about needing to be diplomatic, recognizing that things may not be unfolding the way they were anticipated, but that you can sort of find a way to find the balance that you're looking for. So if indeed there has been a passing, and there is a division of property or assets, that's what this is talking about. The Emperor talks about it's I almost want to say like being mindful of how that inheritance is being used. You may want to invest it, funnel into something solid and secure. With the Emperor there, the feeling is almost like um he's a counterpart to the Empress, right? Which is birth and new beginnings and abundance. He's that sort of same energy, but more in a business or commercialized way. And so this very much could be about looking at creating ongoing revenue or wealth from this situation. Now, if you are not dealing with that, then again, you're looking here at a situation where you're going to want to be careful of your wording and the way you choose things, recognizing that something didn't unfold the way you had hoped or wanted it to. This has put you in a position where you need to reevaluate. It may very well be that something has to end so it can be reborn. If that's the case, so let's say, for example, this has to do with employment, okay? And so perhaps there's a situation there that just literally didn't kind of turn out the way you had hoped it would. It may be that it's time for you to look at retiring or finding a new job or shifting your position somehow. And ultimately, that's going to put you in a stronger financial situation. It's going to actually bring you increased stability and security. And with the Emperor here, this arena could literally be the business world, but it can also represent um, making making your assets work for you. And it can also talk about like a mentor, right? Like somebody who you can turn to, who can give you advice, etc. So those are the interpretations. Not very often that I will give you sort of almost two distinct readings from one set of cards, but that's the energy here. There's definitely change coming, and there's definitely financial security or growth or abundance coming. And it honestly is it's a matter of managing it well on both ends. Alrighty. And this lavender amethyst, here we go. Okay. Knight of Swords, the Lovers, Five of Cups, Page of Cups. Okay, so the Knight of Swords. This is about movement that is quick, sometimes even like chaotic. It's making decisions quickly. It's having to process information quickly. Again, swords are that air energy. So you're talking about power, conflict, the law, your thoughts and ambitions, though that kind of energy. And there's a speed, an increased speed, a ramping up of the energy or the focus connected to this card. Now, the lovers can literally represent a relationship, like an intimate partnership, but it can also just represent friendship. It can represent a business relationship. But with the lovers card here, that's talking about a partnership of some kind. The Five of Cups is sitting here basically saying, you know what, that whole thing just didn't exactly turn out the way I had hoped or expected. I'm feeling a little bit disappointed. I'm feeling let down. Maybe I have regrets, that kind of energy. But the Page of Cups is saying, hold on to your horses there for a second, because you have good news coming forward. Um, and the good news, because it's the cups, the good news tends to be around um, something that's going to make you happy, that's going to put things back into perspective, bring you some joy. So whatever this is, it honestly, it's just like the energy is moving. It's starting to pick up. Perhaps it was sort of flatlining for a while, but things are starting to move forward. There's a need to evaluate or look at or consider a partnership. And listen, understand that nothing ever goes exactly the way we hope it would. And when you look at the Five of Cup card, yes, there are three cups that are tipped over, but there are two that remain standing. And so part of the message of this card is don't spend your time focused on what went wrong. Spend your time focusing on what is still upright, what you can still work with, where there can still be growth or compromise or forward movement ahead. And that is going to bring you to a far, far better place emotionally, a place where you can anticipate some good news sort of coming your way, some shifts of energy that increases the positivity of the situation. So absolutely, all is not lost. It might feel like things are a little crazy right now, but again, focus not on what has been lost, but focus on what you can do with what's left. Okay. And with the levers here, I can't help but feel that this, to some degree or another, is about a partnership of some kind. Um, so focus on good news coming in and looking at what you have left and how you can make that work to your advantage. And understand that this fast moving, sort of chaotic energy ultimately ends up being like to your benefit. Because not everything needs to be slow and methodical and thought out. Sometimes when you sort of almost literally just follow your intuition and make a quick decision, it can end up very much being the right decision. You know, sometimes we like to overthink things to death. All right, here we go. The dark blue. All right, where are we at here? Okay. Ace of Swords, Justice, Two of Wands, Six of Cups. Okay. Um, if you did not listen to the crystal reading for the green crystal, um, you might want to take a look at it. You've got the Ace of Swords here, right? This is about a triumph over adversity. This is about finding your inner strength. It is about mental clarity. It can also be about proceedings connected to the law. Because you have the Justice card here, it very much indicates that there is a balancing that is coming or that is needed. This very well may be about legal documents or paperwork, and it may even something that ends up needing to process through the courts. The Two of Wands. This is about um an accomplishment, an initial accomplishment. Sometimes it can be about partnerships. It is sort of that looking at how far you've come and looking at what the next steps and stages are. The Six of Cups is interesting here because the Six of Cups, as you know, is represents sort of that time before right now. And so it may be that you're doing some reflecting. It may be that you're now interacting with people from another time in your life. It could be your siblings, it could be, friends that you haven't seen in a while, whatever it is. But so there is an energy here of like a legal matter being resolved or a um or decisions being clarified, and that allows you to move forward a little bit. Okay. And this reconnection with the past. is a positive thing. It's a good thing. Um, sometimes if we're able to pull back a little bit, and look at our lives objectively, can be really, really interesting. Sort of the circular path that our lives will sometimes take. So, the people that were in your life a while ago may resurface, and pick up where you left off. It could be needing to go through photographs or paperwork or even documentation from a previous time. But the Six of Cups card brings a sense of joy. There's a sense of looking back at the past and finding that happiness and that comfort of being in a place where mentally things were frankly just easier, not as stressful, not as guarded. So the overriding message of these cards literally is, if there's something that you are trying to get resolution on, it will come. And that's going to allow you to move forward to the next step and stage. And ultimately, you're going to find that there is a return of a happiness or energy from the past. Um, if anything, these cards are sort of asking you or suggesting to you that it might require a little bit more patience. Timing, can sometimes be everything. But what the cards are doing is they're giving you some reassurance and that ultimately things are going to unfold in a way that creates that forward movement again, perhaps with a partnership, perhaps not, but it will give you the next direction. And again, it may be that you are reflecting on things from the past. It may be that you are now able to pull out something from the past. I don't know, maybe you were taking piano lessons or you were painting and for whatever reason it stopped. You may be thinking, I should go back and figure out how to play that piano again, or I should go get some, canvas. So there's sort of a return to the past kind of energy here, but it's in a positive, happy way. It's not a wallowing or a kind of a negative energy. This is about drawing happiness from before into your present. All righty. There you have it. So for the week of November 9th through the 15th, I thank you very, very much for being here. I hope your crystal reading brought you some clarity or insight. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.